I'm Craig Kenneth, a relationship coach and a psychotherapist. Every relationship is different and every breakup is different. Work with me and you'll get professional help on your situation. And if you're in no contact, focused on personal growth, my workbook series, The Knowledge, will help you make changes like you've never made before. Available now at AskCraig.net. Hi there, I'm Coach Craig Kenneth.
I'm Coach Margaret.
And today we're going to be talking about, is he wasting your time? You know, one of the things that happens a lot of the times when we're dating and we're looking at people that we're possibly interested in, we come across people that just constantly keep us guessing and keep us waiting. They'll go days or even weeks before they reach out to you or reply to you. And that time, a lot of times it keeps us just stuck in the situation.
Yes, it does.
Because we're just wondering,
Right.
What is going on with this person?
Right.
Are we going to see each other again?
And many people wonder what they did to make that happen.
Yeah, absolutely. That you guys feel like, you did something wrong.
Did I say something wrong? Did I do something wrong? Why do I have to wait so long between times that we see each other?
And then a lot of times those people will give you excuses. Right? They'll say, I'm busy, or I have this going on, and they have that going on, and it sounds reasonable enough to keep you hooked. But a lot of times it will go on for an extended amount of period.
Yeah.
So one of the things that I was thinking is how you have to look at how this person is treating you as far as a priority. Where do you fit into their life, okay? Sure, people have responsibilities. Sometimes they have kids,
Right.
or work responsibilities, or school, or other obligations. But that doesn't give people a right to disappear on you for weeks or months at a time. And so you really got to look at their behavior. Are they showing you with their behavior that you're a priority? Or are they treating you like an option and somebody that they're not really interested in?
Yes, and behavior speaks louder than words.
It's so true.
Yeah, it really does.
I think probably women really struggle with this more than the guys do, where the guys will continually string women along with these excuses and reasons why they can't see you. And the women kind of start to just, I don't know, they think about it more and more, and then they start to almost attach to somebody
Right.
based on the thoughts.
Yes, that's right. That's right, that's true. I don't think women do it quite the same way men do it. And they'll make promises, and then they'll make dates, and then they'll often cancel them.
Now maybe that's part of the reason it's like that is because of how at least the American culture is, where the man sets the date.
Right. Yeah.
And the man calls to ask the woman out.
Right.
And so it's more like that, or at least it has been for many years.
Yes.
And so that would be why the woman would be sitting around wondering and waiting where he's at.
So men have had, more control over figuring out when things are going to happen.
Yes. And there's still, in some ways, that
I
pressure.
think there's still that expectation, right? Yes.
And a lot of women like that, and some women like to, ask the guy out, and I think that's great.
Sure.
I mean, if I have
Sure.
a girl that asks me out, I'm going to be flattered. I'm going to,
Right.
that's great.
And if you're planning on a 50-50 relationship, and most people say that's what they want, that's great, yeah.
Absolutely.
Sure.
So we've got a good email today. This is somebody that I did an email coaching with, that you can see a lot of the behaviors that I was talking about, and red flags. Is this guy wasting her time? Is he really just not ready yet? Let's take a look at it and see how it played out, okay? So this couple is both in their mid-20s, and what she said is they started talking through a dating app, and this was, let's say, spring of 2017, and spent a year talking before they met up 4 different times. So for me, that's a big red flag. They were talking for a year. Okay? And as she mentions later on in this email, she only lives 20 minutes away. How does it take you a year to meet somebody who lives 20 minutes away?
And talking on the computer is not the same as talking in person.
No, of course not.
Sometimes I almost think people aren't sure about that. That it's just as meaningful to talk with someone over the computer. But no, you don't see their body language, their facial expressions. You don't get a sense of their presence.
Absolutely. There's so much that happens in person.
Sure.
But for me, that's a red flag right off the bat. He's making you wait a year before he can even see you?
Well, he hated his job, remember?
Well, we'll get to that.
Okay.
So, they met up 4 times, according to her. She says, I started talking to a guy in a dating app. We met in person after a whole year of just talking and Skyping and met 4 times in total. He told me his last relationship ended because she stopped getting intimate with him. Well, maybe she only saw him 4 times in that year, too.
Yeah, he's not Mr. Present.
9 months ago, there were multiple family deaths, including his grandparents, and he would come to me for emotional support. He used to be miserable at his job. He said, before we even met, that once he got a new job, we can have a relationship. That feels like total BS to me.
Well, unless the girlfriend he had then worked there.
Possible.
Yeah.
And so he was hiding her?
But yes, BS, I would agree.
Because, I mean,
he's just giving this woman crazy reasons why he hasn't seen her.
You have to wait months on end to meet somebody because you don't like your job? I mean, maybe a month or so if there's a big transition
and
for
if it
work.
made you grumpy and so forth and so on, but really.
But, whatever extended amount of time seems completely unreasonable. Okay. She goes on to say, once he got the job, months later, we met. He said he wanted a relationship after the second time we hung out, and we had sex. Now mind you, she has been talking to this guy for a year, so she's probably thinking finally things are going in the right direction here.
Right.
He made plans for that weekend, yet tried to come over. I suggested we see a movie, and he agreed, but flaked. So we never became official.
Oh, so, okay. So he made a date with her and
then he canceled.
Didn't show. Yeah.
Later, he'd say stuff like, are you seeing anyone else? I don't care. It's not like we're together or anything.
But he did care or he wouldn't have asked.
And not only that, do you really, after a year of talking to somebody, not care if they're interested in other people or what's going on with you and her? I mean, to me, he's just giving loads of excuses.
Yep.
I mean, he cared enough to ask, but why?
Why?
Right?
Yeah.
His behavior isn't lining up with it. It feels more like you don't care, right?
But he wants her there available when he does want her.
Good point. Like a backup.
Yeah.
He would initiate dinner plans, then, last minute, he'd ask if he can just come over due to feeling tired, stressed from work, and wanting to keep it low.
I hear a theme here. If it's going to cost money, like to take you to dinner or go to the movies, I somehow can't do it.
Or, like she's not worth spending the money on for a date or something.
And you made another good point, that he may not want to be seen with her in public.
Mm-hmm. I had a bad feeling. I asked him what low-key means and how I'm looking for something serious. Or at least meaningful, right? He went off on me.
Ooh.
Saying that's not what he means, how I'm overthinking and reading too much into it. What does that sound like to you?
Sounds to me like it was way out of proportion for him to go off. That's what it sounds like.
It feels like reality distortion.
Yes.
And in a sense, it almost feels like abuse, doesn't it?
Yes, it sounds abusive to me.
Yeah?
How dare you? He doesn't know her all that well, and he's trying to mess with her reality.
Yeah, he really is.
Yes, he is.
You're overthinking and reading too much into it. Well, how do you know what I'm doing?
How would you know? Right, you don't know me that well.
Granted, she was, but...
Yeah.
But, she's also been waiting a year to see this guy, and they're 4 times or whatever, they're hanging out. He kept going silent for 1 week at a time for the last month of the summer. It felt like I was ghosted. 3 times and my anxiety would get bad.
Oh.
Now, one of the things that...
She was attached to him by now.
Yeah, I was just going to get to that. She's attached to a guy that she really doesn't know, but it's more of who her fantasy is of who he is than who he actually is. Because who he actually is, he doesn't look so good to me.
Me either.
Okay. After I reached out, he came back, acted like nothing happened, suggested we go out of town since he's stressed.
He's always stressed. Go out of town. How far out of town?
Yeah, far enough where no one will recognize her or
Yeah.
him. It sounds like it almost, right? I suggested we meet for coffee to talk about all this. We met. He apologized and suggested we grab dinner the next weekend again. I didn't sleep with him that day. Good.
Good for you, lady.
Because
yeah,
it sounds like he's just using you.
Yeah.
Right? And you're emotionally invested and you're hurt
Yep.
by all of his behavior. So that's why it's good for you to protect yourself.
Right.
He didn't follow up on dinner. No surprise.
What a surprise.
And went silent for a month.
Can he not even afford McDonald's?
Doesn't sound like he can afford the minutes on his phone the way he acts.
Yeah. Right.
I felt I was going to die.
Oh.
I know, right?
Oh.
Here she is, all excited about this guy. And to me, he's never made her a priority at all. I texted him, no answer. I called. He screamed at me for trying to talk to him while he's headed to work and got angry.
Poor dear must be anxious while
Yeah.
going to work.
I called him unstable. Sounds like an accurate...
It sounds good to me.
yeah. We blocked each other. During 2 months of no contact, I started feeling bad for calling him unstable. So now she feels guilty and feels like this is her fault.
Oh dear.
This was not your fault.
No, it was not.
I sent him an apology. See, she really feels guilty.
Yeah.
He immediately called a few times and he texted this. Hey, can I call you? It won't be anything bad. I actually want to talk about things and apologize too. I want to apologize for how I acted too. I was selfish and I bear responsibility too. I've been thinking of you lately and I was hoping that you're okay. Feel free to call me. I'd love to hear from you. I hope all is well with you. Well, all of a sudden, who is this guy?
That sounds good, doesn't it?
Yeah, sounds great. Let's see what happened. When I called back 3 days later, he offered to meet me the next day at my place. He told me I made a mistake in not talking to you this summer properly. I should have just talked with you. I just wasn't ready before. Or he was more interested in somebody else before, and now it fell through, so he's more interested in you.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
After our time apart, it's helped me clear my head. I'm now ready and want to go on dates with you, not rush into anything. He even told me he hadn't been seeing anyone since our time apart. Yeah, right. He's not seeing anyone else, Margaret. Okay.
Yeah, and I'm the Queen of England.
Cheerio.
Cheerio.
The next day, he canceled. He said he wasn't feeling well and
poor
asked
dear.
me to meet next week. Sounds like his other date did come through, right?
Well, he's got all kinds of problems here.
Yeah. Said he'd call later that night. He never did, and he never rescheduled. Weeks later, I wished him Merry Christmas, asked what's going on. He texted back saying Merry Christmas, sorry for going MIA, but I would just prefer to be alone. I have a lot going on right now. I'm sorry. This just feels like just utter BS.
Mm-hmm.
Right?
Yes.
Then 2 hours later, I don't have social media, so he doesn't know I can see, but he had posted a couple of Christmas pictures with another girl.
Oh, what a shock.
And someone commented, Facebook official. So other people already knew who this other girl was, that they must have known who she's been for a while. Days later, he changed his status to in a relationship with a girl who's younger than me and lives an hour away. I was 20 minutes away from him. Yet he couldn't make it work
No,
with
he
you for
couldn't,
20 minutes,
no.
but she lives an hour away. He has time to see her? All right. I'm wondering about how he used to live with a girl right before me, and now he got in a relationship with this other girl within such a short amount of time, yet never committed to me. What is he doing? Do you think he'll ever reach out again? And if so, how do I handle it? I'm thinking of ignoring him. What are my next steps? I'm in therapy now. Okay, well, let's, I think, start with her. I suspect that she must have had a lot of attachment issues growing up.
It sounds like it, because if this felt good to her, this was really kind of crumbs.
Yeah, at best.
At best, yeah. And she got excited about this, and I think was wondering what she's done wrong.
Yes, you didn't do anything wrong.
No, you didn't.
Okay? His behavior was just one excuse after another, and it just felt like he was just completely full of crap.
Yeah. And she was there for him after he had the deaths in the family.
Mm-hmm.
So that part of it sounded real, and she offered him real support, it sounds like.
Yeah.
And her thanks for that was, gee, can't make it. I have a stressful job. I don't feel well. Yeah, and I'm too tired to go out to dinner.
Now, for whatever reason, and he doesn't seem healthy at all to
No.
either of us,
No.
he may have just not been that interested in you. But that is not a reflection on you.
No.
Because he didn't act like an adult at all. Okay? An adult simply would have said, look, I had a nice time getting to know you, and I enjoyed the time we had together, but I don't see us going anywhere, or something reasonable.
That would be fine. That would be grown up.
Yeah.
But
we
he
have
just-
we have to be adults.
But
in
he
life.
just does excuses.
Yeah, and lies.
And not even well does he do excuses.
For me, they're lies. They're
Yeah.
not even excuses. They're
Yeah.
just he's boldly lying to you about where he's at and what he's doing, and keeping you hooked.
Yeah. And he did keep her hooked quite skillfully.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Time and time again.
Yeah.
He would occasionally give you just enough to think that it was going somewhere.
Yeah.
But for me, this guy is not put together well at all.
No.
I would say he at least has an avoidant attachment style.
Right. And he has a little trouble with the truth.
Yeah. He feels narcissistic for me.
Yeah, I agree.
Right?
It's all about his needs and how he feels. And he was anxious going to work that day, and he couldn't have a job he didn't like and have a social life, and he couldn't do this and he couldn't do that.
Yeah, he yelled at you.
Yeah, he sounds like a
screamed at
bundle
you.
of nerves at best.
You're overthinking things.
Yeah.
No, actually you weren't. I mean, maybe
No.
you were thinking about it a lot, and you were attaching a little bit too much for somebody you barely knew.
Yeah.
But if he really wanted to see you, it's not like you were, on the other side of the country. He was 20 minutes away. And his behavior shows you that he really wasn't that interested, even though his words may have told you he was.
Yeah.
Right? And so you have to pay close attention to somebody's words and their behavior, because it really can pull the wool over your eyes when you start to attach to somebody.
This is the old concept they used to toss around 20 years ago called cognitive dissonance. And what it really means is that words and behavior don't match. I'll call you, we'll do this, we'll do that, but none of it ever happens.
Yep.
And eventually you say, wait a minute, what he says and what he does don't match.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think you should move on from this guy.
Right.
I don't think you should worry about him or concern yourself for him. I don't know if he would reach out again. Maybe he would if it would fall apart with this other girl. But you deserve a lot better than this.
Yes.
You've already wasted a year
Yep.
on this guy, and he doesn't deserve it. There are a lot of great guys out there that would love to get to meet you.
Yes, there are.
And work, know you. But I would work on your anxiety, and I would work on yourself, because if not, you're going to find yourself attracted to guys that aren't emotionally available. And in this case, he was, I think, abusive.
I think so too. And one of the short ways to put that is, how does the relationship with this guy feel? Does it make me feel good about myself? He never made you feel good about yourself.
Yeah.
He constantly rejected you with excuses. And when it doesn't feel good, you don't want to do it. I don't think he'd make much of a partner. He's not reliable even when you talk to him.
No.
No.
So hopefully you think about this and this gives you a more clear picture on what you want to look for with how people treat you.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah, and don't beat yourself up or wonder what's wrong with you.
Yeah.
Nothing is wrong with you, and you didn't do anything but be nice to him.
Yeah. If anything, you were too patient with
Yeah.
him.
Yeah.
All right, so hopefully you found this video helpful. Of course, when you want to get our help personally, just go to my website, askcraig.net. Sign up for the coaching option that works best for you. I do email coaching and I do Skype. Margaret is also available for
Yes.
Skypes.
And I'm very busy, and I'm very happy about that. So thank you for contacting me.
So just click on Margaret on the top of the website to get with her. By the way, you can find me podcasted now. And so on just about all the major podcast platforms, just search for Craig Kenneth and I should come up, and then you can listen to me on the go. But that's it for this video. I'm Coach Craig Kenneth.
I'm Coach Margaret.
And we will talk with you soon.